If you didn't see the game last night, Chris, how would you describe it and the importance of it?
I would describe it as revealing, at least in terms of what the Nets need to work on moving forward. I'm not at all concerned about the ability of, Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant to put up points. I mean, they scored 96 in that game. I think they scored like 42 of the last 57 points for Brooklyn in that game. They'll find a way to make it work offensively. But there were a couple of things that really stood out. One, the Nets don't defend anybody. And this has been, going on for most of the season. Cleveland came into that game with the 30th ranked offense. Like, they stunk. And they were without Darius Garland. They were without Kevin Love. And they still put 147 on Brooklyn in double overtime. That needs to be addressed. They don't have a defensive stopper on the perimeter. DeAndre Jordan's best years as a rim protector are probably behind him. They don't have anybody off the bench that provides that type of presence. And they don't really trust anybody on that bench. I mean, Steve Nash, I guess, nominally played a 9-man rotation, but, Joe Harris played 42 minutes off the bench. Nobody else played more than 12. Meanwhile, Kevin Durant, who is not that far removed from an Achilles tear, played 50 minutes. James Harden, in his third game with the Nets, played 50, his third straight with 40-plus. Kyrie Irving, off for 2 weeks, goes for 45. Steve Nash either needs to start trusting the guys on his bench, or Sean Marks has to go out there and find a way to get him guys if he does.
Yeah, I think you're going to have scoring, and then defense is going to be optional. And I think you have to have a concept for defense, and then you have to have a willingness to want to play defense as well. It feels like Kevin Durant is the one guy who can play defense or will play defense, but trying to add to your roster at this point in the season or later in the season, what's the feasibility of that, Chris?
Not much at this point during the season. I mean, you can scour the G League when they get started in early February to see if anybody kind of fits that mold. Their trade options are extremely limited because of what they gave up in the James Harden deal. What they have to be hoping for is that the buyout market yields a player that fits what they're looking for. I mean, every year there seems to be 2 or 3 guys that hit that market that can make an impact on a contending team. The difference this year, though, Dan, is that the expansion of the play-in tournament is going to make a lot more teams feel like they're in contention. So if you're a team that's sitting there at 11th or 12th, but you're only a couple of games back from 9th or 10th, you're going to think, all right, maybe I won't buy this guy out because we have a chance to get into the postseason. That could depress the buyout market, and if that happens, that's not good news for the Nets.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I hadn't thought of that.